Blink your eyes, it's polishing your eyeball, right? It's removing impurities. That's why it's so great for cataracts. And then when it does go behind your eye, that's when it targets the mucus or things that are backed up, and then it gets through your sinuses and helps to clear out your sinuses. Is anybody still waiting on the second? Still waiting on the second one, right?
It's really amazing how it re-clarifies of the eye.
And that's just one use. We've had people take their glasses, like use their glasses every day, and in one use they've dropped their glasses for a whole week, just from one drop.
Yep.
You know, because some people are very skeptical, so we do give them the free drop when they come, and then they've come back a week later. Well, I haven't put my glasses on since. So it's pretty amazing. Everybody's eyes are different, right? So everybody has a little bit of a different experience. Some people need to use it a little longer and things, but it's best to use them at night.
Yeah, he don't play. He's going in.
Yeah, you could definitely do it, you know.
3 times a day.
Yeah.
What? At night? When I do it?
Okay. And then our third honey, or our third bee, I should say, is known as the Scaptotrigona, right? This is another bee that kind of scatters around a little bit. Definitely native to Mexico, but you'll find this bee in Honduras and Guatemala as well. We're going to do our third taste.
This one first, this one second.
Scaptotrigona.
Scaptotrigona. A mouthful.
These are all Mayan names. The Mayans have used to worship these bees as gods, believe it or not. Anytime they were sick, they used this honey in different ways, whether it was on the skin topically, through the eyes, or internally. You know, they would make drinks out of it and things with the sour orange, with some native plants that they had around. Because you gotta understand, back then when this was their medicine, they didn't have money. They traded for goods, so they weren't trading. This was their main medicine, this and the herbs. So this was used for a lot of different things.
Citrusy.
You see, you get more citrusy, fruity kind of vibe from this one. This one comes more from the mountainy areas. It's actually, they know it as a cloud forest. And the bees, they do love the mango trees, and like I said, the sour orange, sour sop, things like that. These fruits that are native, you'll start to get some of these notes actually in the honey from the pollen that they collect and things like that. The one that we first tried in the eyes was the Himarito. But now, yeah, the first one that you tasted. But also understand that all 3 of these are studied and researched for the eyes, right? That's why they all have that similar consistency, has very thin. So these are all 3 researched for the eyes. That's why we are presenting them in the way that they are, because there's a lot of people selling these types of things nowadays and misconceptions. Some of these bees create, some stingless bees create honey that you're not supposed to put in the eyes, right? So that's why we're putting this information out, so you guys know what to look for. Oh, someone's trying to sell you honey. What species is it? You know what I mean? So most people that are selling it won't even know. Just be thinking because it's a stingless bee, you know? So this is very important.
So out of the 3, which one do you recommend?
Well, they're all amazing. They're all amazing. It's more so the environment that the bees have. Are they free? Do they have the freedom to roam around and choose the flowers that they need? Or do they have access to these things? If they're being farmed, they might not have access as much as their wild selves, right? And these bees usually find old, dead trees that they will hollow out because it's easier when the tree's dead. Like avocado trees, they'll find them in trunks of them, and then most of the time they're rescued. If not, if the tree's falling, they'll usually assist the tree from falling and cut certain branches and then keep the hive intact with the trunk still the way that they had it. Because it's important not, this is an endangered species, it's important not to disturb their peace and their environment as well, right? Because, like I said, this is something that we're trying to preserve. The honey, yes, is very medicinal, but you can only take so much. You have to leave some for them because this is their food as well. All right, so it goes pretty in depth, but this is a very powerful tool. This is the Scapto trigona. This is the third one. You wanna try it? And people ask all the time, can I put this honey in my tea? And I always say I wouldn't, because this honey is so pure, I wouldn't want to heat it up. If your tea was cold, that's something else. But I like to experience it just like that. I feel like you'll get the better benefits out of it.
So we talked about for eye health, which has a tremendous amount of benefits. And then we just did some great samplings. I'm glad you guys got to see the different flavor profiles. We're gonna hand out some more. First, again, thank you guys for coming. I'm really enjoying hosting you guys for this experience. Okay, and there's really a lot of other parts of the hive as well too, and more benefits for the eye that we want to touch on for you guys as well. Okay, you know, we talked about visual prowess and everything from glasses, nearsighted, farsighted, blurry vision, as well as cataracts, glaucoma. That's the film, that's the mucus over the eyes, right? And this pulls directly from the brain, as we already mentioned. We talked about for ear infections. You can use it for ear drops. Some people have bad wax blockages. We've had people I can't hear for weeks, 2 months and 2 drops, and they're like, oh my God, it's so much better right now.
Exactly, styes, eye infections, things like that help very well with too. It's also used on the skin. So if you had a rash, if you had an open cut, or eczema, things like that, you can actually apply a little bit of the honey and rub it all over that area, and it will help to kill bacteria and regenerate, right? So it helps to regenerate the skin as well. And then not only is the honey good, but these bees also make wax, right? Bees make wax. These bees make a different type of wax than the regular European bee makes, right? So these bees make a wax like this. It's still thick and hard like a regular wax, right? But this wax is anti-inflammatory. You could actually even eat it if you want. It's a little unpleasant like this right now. But when they're in their natural state, the hive, some people do take a piece of the wax with the pollen and the honey pod all together, and it's like a delicacy. Not everybody is gonna get a chance to try that. That's something that's like, you gotta be there, right? And that's only if the bees have left their hive. You don't want, like I said, we're not trying to disturb the hive, right? So, but yeah, the wax, very great. So we make lip balms with the wax. We make a salve with the wax for the skin. You can do a number of things with it. Honestly, candles they do for the Mayas. They use this to make their candles for their ceremonies. This wax is very thick, so the candle won't just melt out right away. This will last for hours and hours. So if you had it lit all day, this won't just turn into a puddle. So very great for them as well.
So just like with what we know, the American bee, right? Beeswax. A lot of people like to use it for certain properties, right? You get a lot of the medicinal properties that are now infusing these tropical herbs that are good for the skin. I really love this lip balm. Dry skin is like a lot of people's, toughest challenge, and this moisturizes for a long time. Sometimes I eat and it's still there, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So, not to mention, even in the regular time frames, its effectiveness is just tremendous.
For sure.
I really like the way it moisturizes, and a lot of people have said they never use something that is that effective for their skin, and the lip balm, and it's natural.
Yeah, it's only 4 ingredients. It's the stingless beeswax, coconut oil, a little shea butter, and eucalyptus. So it's very clean, for people who, we're all worried about what are they putting in our, that's why we make these things, and same with the salve, right? This is stingless beeswax, coconut oil, and it's infused with a few different herbs, like the herbs we have here, like chaparral, oregano, calendula flower, arnica flower, so for pain, inflammation, eczema, psoriasis, anything like that, even just moisturizing your skin, and it's amazing. So
you have these guys working together on the nutrient-rich alkaline herbs with the nutrient-rich properties from the wax. So now you're getting, a combo punch, and we've seen some really great results, including yesterday for some rashes,
yeah, for sure,
and outbreaks. Of course, eczema, psoriasis, all the skin conditions. But I particularly like to see the benefits for breakouts. The way when the skin is dealing with, blood reaction, and whatnot. Sometimes putting this on has had really fast results.
speed the process up of, clearing you up.
Okay. So this is all topical, right? Benefits for the Melipona, as well as we have the soap, right?
So same thing, how the honey was like, you could put it on your skin, it will help to regenerate. So we have a soap made from the honey, right? And then we also have a shampoo, it's over on the shelf over there, made from the same honey. So for the shampoo, it's gonna help to strengthen your roots. It's gonna help with dandruff. It's gonna help with, growing your hair, right? But it's also for the skin, when you use it, this I like to say for sensitive skin, right? People who have trouble with certain soaps, they make them, it's too harsh, things like that. This is very gentle. Helps with acne, things like that, clear up your skin. So it's another great way to use the honey.
And we're really on that point. I think even like not downplaying it, because again, when he mentioned the topical benefits for cuts and wounds, this is really great for helping regenerate the skin.
Oh yeah. Renew the skin. You could take this honey, and we have something in there called batana oil. That's a great base, right? So you put a couple drops of this honey, and you put that batana and just spread it around. It's amazing. Or you take a couple drops and throw it on yourself, and you can really just, it really does
activate on a high level. So this is like we said, it originates in more tropical regions. Most will probably view it as more jungle style, ancient healing tools.
Exactly.
That our ancestors have used, and you can even find peer-reviewed data, verifying how even Western medicine acknowledges, the benefits that our ancestors have experienced for a number of decades, centuries, if you will.
All 3 of these 3 species of stingless bees have been researched by medical professionals to know that it's good for the eyes. So that's why we're only showing these 3, because like I said before, some stingless bees are not making honey that you're supposed to put in the eyes. There's a lot of different, there's thousands of different species, right? So these are just the top studied for the eyes, and then they're safe, right? So we know they're safe for sure.
Okay. So yeah, really great stuff for the skin. A lot of people, have dealt with damaged skin area, things that we think are permanent damage. We've seen some really remarkable regeneration with it. Similar to topical use, we have the propolis, so we covered other parts of the hive already, the wax, right? And the propolis is a really interesting layer that's a protective layer for the bees. I think you know the propolis a little bit better than I do.
Sure. So the propolis, the bees, they carry not only pollen, right, which they create the honey from and things like that, but propolis, they get resins from the trees. Like there's a tree called gumbo limbo. We have actually the herb here, or palo mulatto, they call it in Spanish. That tree creates a lot of resin. And then that resin, those bees they like that specific tree, but there's all different resins. And then they collect them and they bring them back to the hive, and then they start pasting these resins all over the inside of the hive. right? They seal up cracks. They make a little entrance way, so they can get in and out with like a narrow entrance way that other insects can't get in and destroy their hive. So because everybody's after the honey, not only the bees, right? And it's called propolis. And then what it does is it keeps the hive free from bacteria, mold, fungus, keeps them clean and safe, right? But those resins in that propolis is great to soothe the sore throat. It's full of essential minerals. It's great for respiratory issues. We have it here mixed into a spray. This is just the propolis from the stingless bee. Actually, the Melipona Event, right, which is one of the ones that we had tried. It's got a little eucalyptus and a little bit of water. And now what this does is it's a throat spray. It helps with respiratory issues, helps to break up mucus. If you feel anything coming, or if you want to make sure nothing's coming, you want to use this like 3 or 4 sprays a day. And it's just a nice boost. It's like a breath of fresh air, right? It helps to open up your airways. It's very powerful. And then from the propolis, we also do a cough drop, right? This one's pretty cool too, because this is just the stingless bee propolis, a little eucalyptus, right? Because the eucalyptus is great for the respiratory, and then the stingless bee honey. How is honey in here, right? So this is a very special process where they freeze dry the honey and then they dehydrate it while it's already coated onto the propolis. So they take little balls of the propolis and the oil, and then they're put into a freeze dryer and then a dehydrator. So it's a crazy process to make it like this, but it's not sugar. This is actually honey. So we're actually gonna pass out samples of these as well if you guys like, right? It tastes great in my opinion, and it's a powerful soother, sore throat. Anybody had a sore throat, this will definitely help. So we're gonna give out a little sample of each one, right? Right, and then this you kind of just same as a cough drop. Just kind of let it dissolve in your mouth. Sometimes you'll notice the mucus will come up right away, depends on the person. And it's okay to have both. Oh, so go. You can take the whole spoon. Now, these are very special, things that you'll find in the hive. Hello?
I'm really excited to be able to share these with you guys. When I first saw these, I was like, what? Where did you get these? How did they make it?
Everybody takes 2 or you
Oh no, you can take 2. You can take 2.
So, for the skin.
Try. Back there. Spoon's too big for the jar. Can I get 2? Yeah.
I love these things.
One down. Did everybody get it?
Anybody not get? Right?
Yeah. Just like a cough drop. Just like a cough drop. So you can just kind of let it dissolve in your mouth.
Yeah, let it dissolve,
You don't have to bite it or anything. What? Yeah. Yeah, well, Melipona is like a name for the stingless bees, and then the names vary based off the exact species, right? Like the humidito it has a scientific name too. But yeah, you can pass with that. This is known as the humidito, and then this is another type, and this is a whole other type. Those are the 3 honeys that we had tried earlier. Okay.
So yeah, those are really awesome. Propolis is really amazing. It's literally a defense mechanism that we're taking because it's strong enough to ward off those invaders. We take those same properties and use it to protect our immune response, give it a boost, as well as if you're dealing with any, of course, like you said, respiratory issues, throat issues,
Viruses. Right? This is very good for viruses,
antiviral formula. So really love that. Did we do the spray?
Not yet.
Okay, and we talked about the benefits with the propolis. We've had a lot of people say, we know pharmaceutical versions of throat sprays, antiseptic as they call it. I've taken those things. They don't really do it like that,
And they're not natural at all.
And they're not natural at all. We could do a whole segment on the extra nonsense that's very damaging inside these products. So here we have something completely natural, as you saw on the flyer. Anybody who wants to try that, 3 sprays to the back of the throat is a standard dose, and you get a ton of minerals in there too. Remember, I started off by talking about how these are the best herbalists, out there. Most herbalists, they infuse something for a couple of days or weeks, or if they're really serious, they might do months. But these infusions have been building in nature for years or decades in some cases, depending on what type of a gem you stumble on. So it's not only is it a wide range of minerals because of all the exposure that they get, but it's also a very strong infusion since it's going for so long.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm a big fan of the propolis spray. We've had a lot of people say they came right back, or excuse me, as soon as they used it, their stuff went away.
Yeah.
So for
It's very powerful.
for that, I'm very grateful. And the bottle up, did you miss? Did you miss?
Pay attention to where it's spreading out.
Did you get her? I think you might have
It's
got
great
it.
for the skin too.
Good for the skin too. Good for the skin
I'm
too.
holding it back here and it went that way.
Oh no. Oh no. All right,
It
so.
squirted on my face and went back in.
I'm glad you're good. But yeah, so the spray is really an effective tool, and it tastes good too.
Yeah, freshen your breath, helps open up the passageway for your nose and things like that. So anybody who's sick, that's like the cough drops, those are very powerful. Yeah,
All ages. We recommend it for because it's completely natural and it's still gentle enough for a baby. Even so.
Exactly. Like I said, 3 ingredients, it's very clean. Same with the cough drops.
And I just want to point out that a lot of herbalists, they don't really do the research on their products. We're very serious about sourcing, the quality, just being as hands-on as possible with the process. So yeah, we take quality control very serious, and it's nice to see that they can make such powerful products with less than 5 ingredients. These are made in Mexico, right?
Most of them, yeah. Some of them I make myself, but some things are made in Mexico from the people that deal directly with the bees, right? We don't deal with anybody else. So there's no this guy's gonna get it, make this, and bring it back. No, right from the bees. He has a laboratory, and then he makes things like this, the spray. And then I do like the salves, the lip balms, things like that myself. But yeah, powerful tools that we have here that have endless benefits.
Did we pass around the wax?
Yeah, you guys can check out the wax if you like, just to see what it looks like and things like that.
So I think overall, a lot of people don't realize, like a lot of times when we talk about the honey, the first thing we hear from people is, oh, well, I don't have that. Right? I don't have that. I don't have dementia. I don't have bad eyesight. But the thing is, Father Time is undefeated. And all of us, you know, I would say, unless, you know, you're just that guy, have had what, memory issues, either short term or long term, headaches, brain fog, as well as mineral deficiencies. Our immune systems could definitely use a surcharge from what I see from most people, what they're going through.
Cataracts, glaucoma,
Yes.
running big. So you know, it's very. It's also important to like let's not have them, right?
Prevention.
Maybe let's do it before we get it, right? So that's what we do. We're very big on here, not only with the honey, not only with the Stingless Bee products, but with the herbs, with the lifestyle, with the diet, right? This is all tied together, you know. Prevention is always better than, oh, I have this, how can we, you know? It's better to catch it early, and it's gonna be much easier and for everybody, for us, for you guys, you know,
Yeah.
for everybody.
You won't have to do as much work.
We're always gonna be big on preventative, right? If it does happen, yes, we got you, but we want to make sure it doesn't. So.
And that's how powerful these tools are. They're not just for your symptoms, you know. They're strong enough to address the root cause. And when it comes to the honey itself, for the eyes and the brain, you know, we can touch on things like the nervous system repairing itself, your synapses, your cerebral spinal fluid, your CSF, which, you know, many refer to as like your life force energy. This is super important, along with decalcification of the pineal gland, for what, you know, many consider a more spiritual experience in life. You know, I know a lot of you just took the drops in your eyes for the first time, and you know, the feeling is just different, you know, like right after. You know, I know a lot of people don't quite have the words for it, you know. So you know, I fully, from what my experience, as well as the experience I've had with clients and, you know, people like yourselves trying the honey, it really does go beyond, I think, what most people see at the surface. And you can have a much more, you know, sharper experience in the long run. Imagine getting started using something to repair from all the toxins and heavy metals and, you know, more exposures that we have, so that way we're not even breaking down on the levels. Let's stay sharp in old age. How, you know, that's the real goal with that.
Speaking of being sharp, it also will help with your reflex when you're using it in the eyes, right? Remember how we talked about using it different ways? It have different benefits. When you use it in your eyes, you're affecting you're cleaning, like you said, the pineal gland, right? You're decalcifying it. So that's gonna help with your reaction time to things. Oh, someone think fast, throw you a baseball or something, throw something at you. Boom. Yeah. It's gonna help you, your reaction time to, oh, I might catch it now. You know, if you've been using it for a little bit. So I've seen improvements with my own self with things like that. As well as like, you'll see also too, a lot of people will say it will help you remember your dreams a little better if you use it before you go to sleep.
Yes.
Maybe even have more vivid dreams, right?
Yes.
Because we're feeding, you know, our brain, right? We're feeding the nervous system, you know? So there's a lot of different experiences people have with the honey based on how it's used.
Yes, very, very important to know. I'm still amazed, you know, in the experiences and what people come back and say. Someone even quoted lucid dreaming, you know, just being highly engaged in the dream state through the use of the honey. Okay, so I mean, to think about how it's ancestrally has been used, you know what I mean? I think the feats probably go beyond even what we fully understand in today's scientific world, you know?
That's why these bees were worshipped as gods, right? Like I said, in the Mayan culture, these bees were known as gods, right? They call them Zunanka with the X. That's how it started with. And like I said, they were worshipped. These bees, if you go into like, you know, the pyramids that you find in Mexico, a lot of them found in these pyramids were writings about the bees, drawings of these bees, you know, and then how they used to worship them. They used to pray to them as they were gods, you know. So there's definitely a deep spiritual connection as well, you know, that we notice even just from trying it once, or, you know, from long-term use, you'll notice, like you said, like, oh, the vivid dreams and things like that, reaction time. Some people even would say it helps them to manifest things better, right? Because they're clear. Your mind is clear. Your pineal gland is very important.
Very important.
And most of us, it's not fully activated, you know? So
most of us is quite obstructed, you know, let alone full activation, right?
So it's very powerful.
And speaking of, you know, the ancestral cultural aspect, what about today, right? What happened in these tropical spaces? What's going on? If you hop on YouTube right now and you search some of the phrases that we discussed with you here today, you'll see footage of tribes still fighting to protect the sacred lands to this day. Like many of the which that Andrew has talked about, you know, being able to source and learn from, and because they watch the bees,
They study them. They learn.
Right.
They go and why? Oh, what flower is it? Then they start to use those flowers for tea. Oh, what flower is that? You know, when they see, oh, that same bee is going for that flower every day. It's got to be. Oh, you know, these are how we came across some of the herbs in history. You know, we watched the same thing with how people watch their animals and things like that. Oh, they're eating that green. You know, it's very important, and you know, like the ancient Mayans, the people of the Amazon, they would watch these bees and they would learn how different plants that they can use for medicine, you know, from these guys. And mind you, these bees are the size, maybe less than a fly. And they're getting into flowers like that a regular bee, if they tried to get in, they just knock the flower off. Some of these flowers are so tight, like the blue vervain, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that plant. The flowers are so intricate and delicate, even if you hit the plant, the flowers fall off. But if you can get that nectar from that plant, it's powerful. And that's what these bees do. These bees are actually the only bee that pollinates vanilla by themselves, or else you would have to do it by hand. That's what most people do nowadays that aren't, if they don't have these bees around. They're pollinating each vanilla bean plant by hand. And imagine trying to do a whole farm, right? So these bees are very, very, if we didn't have these bees, vanilla wouldn't even be around to this day. So there's certain things that certain reasons that they're worshipped in that way, you know? So, and besides for honey, they also do make pollen, right? Just like the other bees, but this pollen is much different, right? It's very strong compared to regular bee pollen, and you'll notice it's got a strong taste, almost a sour, very sour taste. But this pollen, it's good for cancer. It's high in iron, magnesium, zinc, and something that's called polyphenol. You guys are familiar with polyphenols? Polyphenol is something that if you get a real rich olive oil, right, it could be a little peppery, right? That's polyphenols in it. It comes from certain fruits. It might be in mushrooms, right? But in a high amount, it's in the pollen, right? And this is what triggers, just like how we do fasting, right? Your body goes through a slight amount of stress that makes it eventually stronger and starts to, I need to do something. Let me reactivate. Let me rebuild my cells. Let me regenerate, right? So that pollen does the same thing in a small amount, and then it's basically activating what? Your immune system, your defense system, your lymphatic system, your elimination system. It helps with cancer. It's targeting. Once you take that, it's like, oh, where's the cancer cells in my body? And it's just like the soursop. It's very powerful because some of this pollen comes from the soursop tree. You know, it's not only like the bees are master herbalists. It's not, they're picking each little piece of pollen, little piece of resin, nectar from each tree, and they're bringing it back because they know it's beneficial. They're bringing it home, right? So it's very, very powerful. And we're gonna let you guys try some of the pollen as well.
Let's go. Shout out to you guys getting this breakdown. I appreciate you.
So it's a little sour. Recommended is about a teaspoon. Right? Pollen actually gives you energy.
Pollen? I had mine today.
Definitely wake you up a little bit. Yeah, it's sour. That's why he's making that face. It's good for you.
The one at the other store is closed.
The other one?
Yeah, next
The
door.
food store? No, yeah, they should still be
They still
open.
open?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know what they do. They closed already?
They closed.
close at 3 copy. Yeah, on Sunday copy.
Mm.
No,
It's a
like
little sour.
Sour,
Yeah.
yeah. Sour.
Very medicinal.
Yeah, there's a little yeah, right there.
Yeah, so they're more tropical climates, right? Like the Amazon, like Honduras, like Mexico, Guatemala. For example, they do have similar bees in Asia, in certain certain islands, like the Philippines. But the flowers and plants are different. You know,
Okay.
they might have some similar plants, but they're gonna have a more different choice. So their honey is gonna be different. You have pollen is gonna be different. You know, so it's really more the environment is where you're gonna get the benefits from. You know, but the bees is what they gather from their environment and they bring home, and then it turns into honey, or they make it into propolis or wax. You know. But great question. Yeah, these bees, if they were here, it'd be a different story.
Are the bees only in Mexico?
No, they like I said, in the Amazon,
Oh, okay.
Guatemala, Honduras. Anybody else?
South America.
Exactly. Some of these, more tropical regions. Oh, how we doing, man? Sometimes you'll see wake you up a little bit, right? Definitely gives you energy. That's from the iron, that's from the polyphenol, right, that we were talking about. And then it's from a lot of these plants the special plants that they're gathering, all these little bits and bits of pollen. You see what right here on this bee's leg? That's a piece of pollen that he's about to carry back to the hive. You can see here even in this picture as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, let y'all see that the pollen on his legs.
Yeah, so they carry it right back in little. So can you imagine how many flowers that they had to go and collect from to make just a size like this? It's thousands and thousands of flowers.
Thousands and thousands, right? That's the pollen on the legs. Right here. And if it's the size of a fly, right? How many of them would it take to get? Like it's so crazy.
Exactly. So don't let the picture fool you. The size of the beast, especially based off species. The tiniest one is this guy. This guy that makes the humidity. But they're all special in their own way. They're all native to different regions. They're all going to have different properties, different tendencies. Some bees, so since they don't have a stinger, their defense is different. They don't have no way to, if someone's trying to attack the hive, what are they going to do? If it's a human, some of them might tangle up in your hair and annoy you. Some of them might go in your ears,
Do they use the same regurgitation method?
Was that?
Do they use the same regurgitation method?
No, they don't.
They don't?
No, so they're completely different than the other bees.
Right.
They're completely different. So they do put off different smells. Some of them, they put off a different. They might release a certain chemical that might smell funny and what's called not attract certain things, right? Certain insects. And then they're also doing like their bite. Some of them will bite you. It's not gonna be a sting, but it's their way of trying to keep up. You know, if there's 1,000 of them biting you, it might piss you off enough for you to, you know what I mean, to leave them alone. So they yeah, they go based off of their vibration, right? So if you go to their hive or whatever with a bad, you know, energy or something like you're gonna go and mess things up or whatever, they're gonna be on you. They're gonna be on you. So it's very certain people don't even deal with the honey based off of their like aura, you know. The bees, they'll know. They know. You know, if you're a friend or you're a foe, they know.
So are there male bees versus?
There's both. There's both. There's usually one queen bee at a time, but there is male and female. But usually the queen bee obviously has the throne, and they're all working for her. So it's basically a team for one to protect the queen, right? And then the hives, I wish I printed out a picture to make, the hives are very intricate. Very, it's almost like art.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
amount of like detail that they
Beautiful,
put into
beautiful.
making the spot for the baby eggs to hatch, a spot for pollen, little pockets they surround with wax so it doesn't get, nothing gets in there. They make pods for honey, you know, and for people to harvest honey, you gotta poke a little hole in the pot, you know. So it's very, very intricate how they do things, you know.
Now, do the males, like, are they stronger than the female bees?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, no. No, I would say they're more kind of, when they're not, if, say, you know, there's one queen, sometimes there might be two. So say that's the case, then they're all working for them. No one's above or below. It's more so like we're a team, and this is what our goal is. Someone's blocking the hive, someone's at the entrance, someone's making, you know, pots for pollen, someone's getting, you know. So
Too bad the United States people in here couldn't.
yeah, well, yes and no, because this is not something that's here. You know, this is something that's native to there, so it's been around for thousands of years. So the people that are still doing this today, this has been passed down to generation from their family. This is not something that you just kind of know, you know.
I'm just saying that people in general.
Oh, for sure.
Like if we could work as a team.
Oh, exactly. If we could be like that,
like.
so we can learn a lot from these bees.
Exactly.
Exactly, for
Yeah.
sure.
What's the difference between like the nectar and the honey? Like, is it like a fermentation process or something?
Well, the honey,
Nectar's-
you mean more so the propolis.
Because I've had honey without bees. Like when I'm from Trinidad,
Mhm.
and we had a whole like big fence like that tall
Mm-hmm.
of hibiscus,
Mhm.
and we used to pull out the little
The
nectar,
tips of
and
the flower,
They
yeah.
would all have a drop of white clear liquid on it.
Yeah.
We used to
That's the
eat it.
difference. The honey is a product from the bees.
Yeah,
Right, that's
that's
what
a
I'm saying.
product
Is
from
there,
the
is
plant.
there like a process that goes through, like?
Yeah, so the bees do their own process of
Mm.
converting
Right.
different things, right? And then they're making it absorbable for us, right? Not that the plants and the flowers aren't, but
Right.
they
It's
make
different.
it in a different way. Like I said, they turn fruit pollen into sugars that won't affect the diabetic.
Yeah, because when you pull out I think it's like the nectar.
Mhm.
You pull it out.
You
it's
pull
like-
out that
it's
stem in the
clear.
middle. Yeah.
It's like clear water,
Mhm.
but it's sweet.
Yeah. So that's coming from the plant, not from the bee.
Right.
So it's a little different based off of the
But
plant.
that's what they extract. type of stuff.
They extract the pollen, some of that, so like that yellow stuff. Sometimes if you see like a sunflower in the middle of that sunflower is bright yellow, right?
Right.
Those are little spores of pollen that the
Okay.
bee might grab some of it, you know, bring it back, you know. For an example, those bees probably aren't going for sunflowers. Sunflower's not an original plant, you know.
Right, yeah.
So these bees are going for plants that they know based off of their genetics, and those are things that are all natural, going wild.
Right.
Right? So these bees are like, if they see a hybrid plant, they already know that's not me. That's not in my genetics.
Right.
So these bees are very, very smart with that type of stuff, with choosing what plants. That's why it's very, like, we talk to the people that deal with these bees. Like, I talk to them every week, right? You know, for products and things, but also just like, I learn a lot from them, right? or when I go there, it's like, you know, it's amazing
What
how
about
they watch.
because there is crossbred bees, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Are their honey like less effective?
Yeah, for sure. That honey will give you diabetes as opposed to healing.
Right.
Yeah. The bees, like I said, they do a process from converting sugars into something called trihallulose, which is a natural
Something
sugar.
called what?
Trihallulose,
Right.
which is a natural sugar that doesn't, break down. It breaks down very slowly. It's not going to spike your blood sugar.
Right.
It's almost a completely different thing. So yeah, it's very different from a hybrid bee. Like some people think Manuka honey, right?
Right.
Since it's like what, $80 at the
Yeah.
store,
I
$100.
think the more
That
expensive, the healthier it is.
it's still coming from a hybrid bee, and the sugars in
Oh,
that
I
will
never knew
still
that.
give you diabetes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
So
would not recommend it.
so
That's
yeah,
what
that's
I did.
that's the
And a
difference.
lot of people keep
Genetics.
Comparing
Yeah.
that
I
hybrid.
attempted to buy Manuka honey at least 5 times and never went through with it.
Yeah, because
That's
sometimes it doesn't make sense. What Manuka is a plant.
Right.
They're making it sound like Manuka is a type of special bee or something. It's a plant, and it's the same hybrid bee that pollinates that plant.
So it
You
doesn't
know?
even matter regardless of the plant, it's just the fact that it's a hybrid bee
Correct.
that's producing it.
Because if it was a native bee, like the stingless bee, they wouldn't even go to certain plants, to
Right.
hybrid plants. So like they know better. you know?
Exactly. They're
So
smart.
exactly, it's not in their agenda. Like that's not even on their mind. you
They're
know?
alkaline.
Exactly. Basically, yeah. If you want to put it in a simple term, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. So that's why these bees are so incredible. That's why Dr. Sebi was using it back in the day to cure people, right? So it's a very powerful tool. They're passing it on to us, we're trying to pass it on to you guys. Because this is something, even in these places like Mexico, like Amazon, people aren't taking advantage of, or it's not even being passed down to them. If they're not interested in it, or they're not, it's just, like it's a fly, it's nothing, So if you don't, it's like if you know, type
Exactly.
of thing, So.
And that's why we also are very extremely grateful for everybody who just asks about what we have going on, and supports these events, because this supports those indigenous herbalists.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like sometimes this is basically like the people that I deal with, at least, this is their living. They don't really have much else but focus, but that's why the products become so, on point, because this is everything, and that's why I love to deal with them. And if they ever raise the prices, I'm never gonna be like I'm okay. This is what it is. This is what it is.
You got it.
You got it. This is your work. This is not something that I'm even, So it's a beautiful thing, and I respect it in that aspect. So where if they doubled it on me, it is what it is.
Like we
I
said,
still get it.
they used to be
Yeah.
worshipped as gods, these bees, just to have the access. We're incredibly grateful for it. When I first heard Dr. Sebi talk about the Hemerito and the Melipona stingless bees, I thought if I found some, I'd probably have to break half my arm off to get it. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna have to go through hoops, and I hope you don't, try to take me into any dark roads. Like,
And don't get it twisted. Like, these people are doing that. They're hiking in the mountains, in the jungle for hours sometimes to find a hive. And if the hive is in good, perfect condition, they're not gonna even mess with it. You know what I mean? So it's very, it's a very intricate and very hard to find thing.
So I was gonna ask you, what parts of Mexico
It's actually all over. It's more so depending on, the jungle, right? So they're in the Yucatan. They're in the Yucatan more towards Belize. They're, in Honduras. But they're more, you're not gonna walk in the city and really find them like
Right.
that, unless someone's farming them, which is amazing, because like I said, it's an endangered species. Sometimes the bees, if they're taken from the jungle, which is why we try not to do that, because then they'll just try to make a hive anywhere. Sometimes they'll make a hive maybe in a gutter or something, kind of like these bees, because they don't really have anything else. There's not really a ton of trees in the city and stuff like that. So, and then the honey is going to be far less potent, so it gets complicated. So that's why, it depends on basically the people, that you're getting it from. Unless you're taking it right out of the hive yourself, it's kind of hard to say.
And that's
So-
why we talked about the importance of sourcing. And also, I would like to just mention that I've seen all types of stuff online. You know, we got a gallon of this for $50, and you know, just craziness. If it's
People
not-
using the, you know, people using people that are, oh, you guys know about the stingless bee. Well, here's some regular honey. We'll take a little bit of the Melipona honey and we'll just mix it in there so it's not super thick. And here, $100 for a little bottle, you know? But it's not. That's something that could actually harm you if you put it in your eyes, you know? So it's very important to know where the stuff's coming from, or to get it from a trusted source, and to have the information. Like I said, if anybody's trying to sell you the honey,
They better
what
know.
species is it?
Yes.
Most people won't know.
And
If they
don't-
do, that's great. Even if they do, you can start asking them questions, you know, give them a
Yes.
little bit, because it is very important. It is very important. And like I said, 3 different bees. These 3 bees, they're all making honey that will heal your eyes. Great to eat as well, but these all are safe for the eyes. That's why we're focusing on these 3 today.
Which is this one, right? 'Cause
That's one of them, yes.
That's one.
That's one
Yeah,
of them.
exactly.
Here's another one.
Oh, okay.
This is the beche, which is this bee right here.
Oh, okay.
And then that is the tetragonisca.
That's the one I.
Yep. So, yeah, it goes a little in deep, right? That's why we wanted to do this event, because it's a lot to just say at the counter. I'm not gonna lie, like, and we want you guys to be able to use this dropper to the fullest. You know, if you do decide to grab one of them, or if you do decide to get a salve, or you know, we want to understand how it works and what is going into making these products, and why it works more so, right? So
Why you might want to give it a try for, you know.
if you haven't tried it yet.
Exactly, and you know, a lot of times when people hear about these things, then immediately they think about somebody else, you know, a loved one, somebody that is maybe, you know, suffering even on a higher level. But you know, of course, I always say it's important to experience it yourself. So I'm just glad we got to expose, you know, you guys and everybody that we do here at African Bio Mineral on a daily basis. You can walk in any day and get drops, you know, or of course, you know, invest in a bottle to have your own. Today for the event, you know, we usually do not have this wide variety of assorted tools in stock here in the store on a given day basis. We're working to keep more in stock, but you know, of course, online puts pressure, and there is limited stock on a lot of these items. And then when you know, they're not coming from close. So it can be sometimes a little time.
And like we said before, right? There's only a certain amount made at a time
Exactly.
that you can take without disrupting the bees and harming the bees.
So another question, I'm sorry if I'm.
No. This is what we're.
Do they make the honey certain times, like is it fall season?
Well,
or
they're
off
making the
season?
honey all the time, but the harvest season is usually based off the area, right? Because this does come from different places with different weather, right? Usually it's springtime is when harvest season is. But you know, like I said, some, like say if you're in Brazil, that season might be a different month, you know, or a different time of the year than here. So yeah.
We love these guys. Yes.
I have a question. I want to know real quick, what do you guys think about vitamins?
Great question. So we've been using the language of minerals the whole time. Long story short, that's what you're referring to as vitamins. A lot of times when people talk about obtaining a vitamin, they talk about going to get zinc or going to get calcium, going to get magnesium. Whereas in this lifestyle, you know, holistic is the whole thing, the whole food. And that's how we recommend people in a holistic health get what you call vitamins, aka what we know as minerals,
Another term, you know.
from the foods in whole food form. So that's why things like sea moss has become a household name in the last few years, because it's extremely mineral or vitamin rich.
Same with the stingless bees pollen, right? Super high in minerals, right? But this is just based off of, like he said, like it's a food, right? It's something that we can consume to boost our minerals up, like the sea moss, right? Like some of the herbs we have, you know? We have a herb that will give you a ton of iron, or we have another one that might give you calcium, or one that might give you zinc, you know? But it's just more so, not a confusion, but, you know, some people are saying vitamins, some people are saying minerals, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What's the difference?
It's basically the same thing. It's
Okay.
more just your interpretation, you know?
You know, we always want to be courteous in our the way we share information, and we never want to you know, like shut down what other systems recognize. But really, in the alkaline lifestyle, we don't consider vitamins to actually be a real thing.
Okay, yeah.
Minerals, you know, it's a breakdown of the word mineral, right? And they try to
Exactly.
attach other verbiage to it, and that's why, you know, when it comes to pieces and breaking these things down, these are whole items. They're not meant to just have some zinc hanging out by itself.
Exactly.
It's a part of a plant. You know, plants make these minerals digestible for us.
And one thing with vitamins, right, is that most of the time they're isolated, right?
Yeah.
Not this whole, like, say the whatever it's coming from has zinc, calcium, and magnesium. It's not just, you know, they'll take the magnesium. And what about the other? They're meant to be together for a
Yes.
reason. The plant has, or wherever it's come from, has all these minerals for a reason, so they can work together, you know? And then, what does vitamin stand for? Anybody know?
Vital?
Vital minerals, right? Vita minerals, vital minerals.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what a vitamin actually even stands for. Yeah. So that's where the word had came from.
So minerals has it all. That's what you're saying?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
In a way, yes.
And most important takeaway is to get it from Whole Foods.
Exactly.
Well, you know, the naming, you know, you might see it referenced in several different ways, but we utilize these things in whole food options. And it's really awesome that you asked that, because when I, you know, first got into alkaline living, you know, I wondered, I was like, well, if everything that we are supposed to be using for treatment type situations is supposed to be safe enough to eat, right? Do we have, you know, safe eye drops, things of this nature? Do we have safe, you know, cut and wound abrasion and help the body heal? Because everything in the drugstore and the pharmacy is synthetic, is man-made, right? So to come to find out, nature does make, in fact, an eye drop that doesn't just lubricate the eye, but regenerates the eyesight, the brain function, the nerves, you know, minerals. It's all about getting it from nature in its original form. So
and they
just
work together.
they work together. They were made to have these components together. Kind of like when people talk about fruits and, you know, juicing and stuff and taking fiber out. You know, there's benefits to concentrating certain things, but you lose other components when you go that route, right? So that's why I recommend juicing in as a tool in specific scenarios, right? Whereas when you're eating fruit on a regular, we don't want to just throw away the fiber every single day. We need that. It works together, and when you're putting minerals back in the body, sugar strips us, and we're depleted. Whereas when you put them all together with the fiber and the minerals and nutrients, you're now absorbing on the highest levels. You're able to utilize. A lot of people get constipated from iron pills because it's an isolated supplement. It's not the whole food iron fluorine that nature intended for
From a
us
plant that you can absorb
to
right?
use. Okay?
And then when you get iron, right? This is a little off, you know, we're going a little off the beat thing, but when you get iron, a natural iron from a plant like the sarsaparilla, right? Powerful plant, high in iron. When you get that iron is actually pulling other minerals along with it. So like say you had some zinc in your body or whatever, that's like kind of just floating around. It's gonna help to your body to pull them together and use them.
Yes.
You know, so that's why iron is super powerful. It's one of my most essential minerals, but it's never by itself.
Important. Okay, works for those guys. So yes, Whole Foods for your minerals, and this is one of your top mineral sources, being how these tiny herbalist geniuses are out there cherry picking literally the most elite, you know, sources for said minerals out in their
Going through
region.
different flowers, you know, trees, you already know. So it's pretty amazing how they, you know, they can just take little bits of things and make something that can heal us out of it, right?
When you say whole foods, like you're referring to like honey or you prefer like actual like
Well,
food?
honey or like say the whole plant. Like for
Okay.
example, like say you were gonna use fennel, for an example, right?
Mhm.
Using the whole plant, we're not just taking the fennel and let's extract one mineral out of it. You know, we want everything in there because everything, that's how it was intended.
Right.
You know, it wasn't, if it was intended to have that one mineral, it would have it.
Right.
And it does, but not by itself.
So,
Everything, that other minerals might help you digest it, you know? So, you know,
It's
it,
there
all-
for
it
a
affects
reason.
you differently. Yeah.
It's there for a reason, and that's why let food be thy medicine, right? Is a very old adage, right? Because the rainbow, these foods correlate to different parts of the body with these minerals, right? That's all we're ever meant to ingest. We're not meant to, man has this whole complex. It's like I can just step in and make my own thing, and I patent this now and sell it to people. That was not what was intended for the body.
Exactly.
So anything that you see isolated, I haven't recommended that to anyone as usage for healing in over 5 years, and we have not, for my personal coaching that is, and in the community and in the lifestyle and the natural living, we have not ever needed to step out to like go to a lab and make something like that. That's a synthetic product.
Exactly.
Okay, even if it was, from the same tropical plant in Mexico, once you take it out, you change it.
Right.
You do that extraction, that isolation process,
Exactly.
okay? So everybody has to choose what system they're gonna align with. There's allopathic, Western medicine, right? And that's why people walk in here every day and they say, oh, can we mix this stuff? Because you don't wanna mix those drugs,
Most
right?
people are scared to take two different
Yeah.
teas.
Right?
You know?
Most people.
Which is, in our
Unders-
eyes, a little crazy, but we understand because it's how we were kind of growing up, like it's how we've been taught,
Yes. We're very extremely considerate in our delivery, but I am always like, wait a minute, we wasn't talking about that when we was at the club, when we was at Chicken Shack and frying up these chemicals and throwing back,
Taking drinks, nobody's asking what's in it.
nobody's saying
So,
what is
oh, does this have sugar?
You know?
Nobody's asking.
No, but now we talk about some sea moss and some
Something healthy,
plants,
and
and
it's
everybody's
like,
like,
oh,
can I
right.
mix this? Like, guys, yes, it's straight from nature.
Exactly.
And like we said, alkaline is what we are, right? These minerals is what our body is made up of, right? We're just replenishing ourselves. So great questions. I appreciate that, and I'm glad to clarify. Okay. And I'm really glad you guys asked a bunch of questions.
Definitely great questions too.
A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of great questions. So I can, definitely appreciate that you guys are in tune and, absorbing this information.
And then I'll add one thing. Nothing here is new, right? Nothing on this table, nothing in this actual store behind us is a new thing. This is all things that are thousands of years old, that are just, like I said, been passed down from generations, from different tribes and communities using it as medicine and with their own, studies. And like I said, they've all been tested and things in different studies, but based off of like what Dr. Sebi did, he would go around and he would go to these different countries and, what's this good for? He would ask like, the herb lady or guy, right? And he would be like, oh, what's this good for? And they would say, oh, it's good for the stomach. He'd be like, okay, let me get a big bag. He'll take a bag, bring it back, take it to the lab, and sure enough, it has the minerals, right, that associate with gut health, or with digestion, or with cleaning the colon, So sure enough, every time we would go to the elders, and most of the time, like 99% of the time, it's accurate, So this is not something new, This is, like I said, it's gathering information from around the world, different plants, different, and then putting it all together, and then something amazing happens from it, So this is how he began to heal all these diseases and things, Sometimes you gotta put in a little work first, before you can just be like, hey, take this, take that, take that. Thankfully, he did most of the work for us, He put together a whole nutritional guide for food, he put together a ton of herbs that he spoke about. And now we're still doing that research for new things, but he gave us a great baseline. He gave us an amazing starting point. So give thanks for that, right? But yeah, I just wanted to add that little piece, right? None of this is anything new. So yeah, we basically covered most of the, the stingless bead stuff, at least, a good gist of it, right? Is there any other questions that you guys have? Or you guys pretty much covered most of it, right? I'll give you a little second, And then we're gonna be doing the products on this table. It's gonna be a little discounted for today for the event, because you guys gave us, I don't know how long we've been here for, about 2 hours, an hour and a half of your time. So we're also gonna be doing a little discount on some of these special products for you guys as well. All right. So if there's no more questions, I guess you can. If you were interested in any of these products, you can come and talk to us about it. Or if you anything else in the store, we're here for you. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Appreciate you guys. Oh, so the lip balms, they're $8. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, you can touch it.